Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Before I get started, I want to wish Damon a happy birthday. I hope that you had a great day on your birthday. I know everything is crazy right now, but I still hope that you had a great day doing whatever you're doing. And again, I hope the job is going well. So, um, you know what? Let's start with Sam and Carly, because here's the thing, and I've read in a lot of different comments and forums of just like YouTube and Instagram comments on Sam, and a lot of people are not happy with, this whole, Sam is, maybe thinking about leaving Jason, or just not really, about that life anymore. Here's the thing what I want people to understand. Her son and her husband almost died in a building explosion. Her son almost died because his dad decided to take him out to play pool. I think if you're not having second thoughts, there is something seriously wrong with you. And it's not as though Carly didn't actually have any second thoughts after what happened to Michael, Morgan. I mean, and she's still with him. So, I mean, but again, I want to stress something. Doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter where the kids go, they will always be a target. Okay, so in the beginning of the episode, Carly was not there telling Brando about the funeral arrangements for Dev and everything like that, and Sam was just like in another world. Like it's like she just was just not here. Her body was there, her mind was somewhere else, and Carly noticed that. Carly noticed that the whole time when Jocelyn was not there talking. Carly noticed that when Jocelyn was talking to Brando. And so when Jocelyn goes back upstairs, because she was with Trina, picking out stuff for Dev and everything like that, and when Sam went up there to talk to Jocelyn was not there talking about how, how her life may be, like she was wondering what her life would be like, without the lockdowns, without the going to Puerto Rico, all that stuff, and she was sitting there thinking about her time with her dad in Australia. About how things are just a lot simpler, she didn't have to sit there and look over her shoulders, and she just lived a normal life. But she, it was more like that, imagine a life that she could have had, but, that's not a reality, and she accepts that. She accepts that this is the reality of the situation. Which is actually kind of, I guess it makes sense for a soap opera portion, but like her brother died in a car explosion. I don't understand how she's still so blase blah, like, oh, well, it's just life, like, whatever. Like, I get that they want to move past the Morgan storyline, but, like, just Morgan, like, died, and you're still just like, well, it's a lifetime, it's just like, okay. So anyway, Carly sees this, talking to Sam, and, Carly walks in, and she's like, hey, I'll let you get back to what you're doing, we'll let you get back to what you're doing. So when she pulls her downstairs, I thought she was going to go a lot harder on Sam than expected. But she was just like, listen, I get you're having problems with whatever, but talk to me, not to Jocelyn. Because at this point, she felt like, Sam was projecting. But in reality, she really wasn't. All she was doing was just listening. So I don't understand why Carly got so bent out of shape about, Sam talking to Jocelyn. She didn't say anything. She literally was just listening. But, at some point, Sam was like, I don't know if that's enough. Like, our love may not be enough, because, bodies, explosions, the danger. And, Carly tries to reassure her. Then, Sam asks, like, what would you do? How do you handle the situation or whatever? And it pretty much just kind of doesn't really go too much of anywhere, except for Carly just gives, just, Sam advice about how to deal with the life that they're in. Now, the scene ends, and that pretty much ends that. But again, I'm just like, Sam, what do you think is going to happen once you like leave Jason? You think that things are going to be cool? Like, no one's going to be sitting there targeting you. You're not going to have to look over your shoulders. You were married to Jason. I get life changes, and what was cool then isn't cool now. But like, the danger's still there. Rather you walk away from Jason or not. So I don't know what kind of delusion that she's under that she feels that, my life could be different if I just decide to leave now, because that's not how any of that works. And I really feel like somebody needs to tell her that, because she is on... Now let's talk about the other part of the story, which is Curtis and Jordan. They get back and are looking into, I guess, this woman or whatever that Cyrus is keeping in some sort of facility. And then Cyrus knocks at the door like, hey, just want to see how you're doing, making sure everything is good. Really need you to get back to work. If you could just kind of speed up that recovery, just be great. So he walks, he leaves. This is after Curtis like, so she's tired, I'm tired. You should go now. Bye. And so he leaves, and I think Jordan was like, I don't know if Jordan. I think Jordan was like, is you think he's on to us? Now I know for a fact that Cyrus is probably on to them. I can't imagine somebody of who's been in the game that long to not have eyes and ears everywhere, to not be sitting there monitoring, watching where Jordan is and where she's going and stuff like that, to not know, especially if, let's just sit there and say for the sake of argument, I guess they didn't really, like, I don't know, I feel like he would actually have eyes on that place that person's hiding at, or he's keeping stash there, to not know that, like, what is Curtis and Jordan doing there? I thought she was sick. But, whatever. So, Jordan and Curtis go to the hospital to get some medical records for, I guess this woman or whatever. They go to Portia, and Portia agrees to help. That's pretty much about it. Also, she's going to try to give her some more fake doctor's notes, because, Cyrus really wants her to get back to work. And back to work, I mean, like, working for him. Now, as I said before, Jocelyn and, so yeah, not really much happened with Trina and, well, that's not true. In the beginning, it was just Trina and Jocelyn talking about Dev. You know what? Here's the thing at this point. I don't know whose decision it was for Dev to leave. I don't know if it was the actor or it was GH. But, here's the thing. They're talking about Dev's service and everything like that, and I'm just like, Dev was at best filler. Listen, I went on his IG and everyone's sitting there praising him for a great job that he did. And I agree. As an actor, he did a great job playing that character up. He did it well. But I'm not going to sit there and try to act like I'm like, oh my goodness, poor Dev, he's gone. Like, I don't care. I don't care for a couple of reasons. One, I don't really care about, like, the children's storyline. And two, he was filler. So, yeah. Later on with Trina, after she goes see Cam and she, gives him some sound advice or whatever, because Cam is still kind of worried about Franco or whatever, and she says something. So, after breakfast with her mom, she's sitting there. And then, well, one of Cyrus's goons approaches her. Now, earlier, Cyrus was talking to Brando, asking to, set up a meeting with Sonny. When Brando does that, some other guy comes out the room, and Cyrus is like, listen, I heard rumors that, Tiger may be alive, and I want to sit there and kind of, smoke him out. So we'll just grab we'll grab his wife or his ex-wife and his child, and we'll just, we'll draw him out. So that's what's going to wind up happening at this point. Kind of crazy, because I could have swore that Sonny still had bodyguards on them, or tailing them at some point. So what the hell happened? See, this is the reason why Tiger was so, for just straight up putting a bullet in Cyrus's head. And I know it wasn't a good idea, but let's be honest. Cyrus is roaming around, free, able to do whatever he wants. And although Sonny is going to try to protect, Trina. Well, the guy's there, so I don't know exactly how much of a great job he's doing. I mean, I know he can't be with her 24/7, but this is exactly the reason why Tiger wanted to put a bullet in his head. I mean, Jordan and Curtis are running around the room to sit there and try to track down these so-called leads or whatever, and it's like the people are dying. Like, all this time that's going on and Cyrus is still breathing, and what are we going to do? We're going to put him in jail? Because that's really done so much, right? Because, Cyrus didn't orchestrate a hit on Sonny's life while he was in prison. But, whatever. I think that ends that scene. And now we go to Cameron and... I was going to call him Todd for a minute. Cameron and Franco. Cameron and Franco has come a long, long way. And you know what? I do want to kind of ask a question before I get into this. So, Liz and Franco are constantly talking about money problems and stuff like that. Liz hours being cut. Franco doesn't even know if he's going to have a job 1 minute or the next. Now, Liz has 3 children, and one of them is Lucky. And I'm just like, so is she not asking for child support from Lucky? Because, Aiden is his son. And Jake, which is Jason's son. And Jason's rich between quartering money, his own money. I don't understand why she's so concerned with, money in the house that much. You had a child by Jason. Don't sit there and try to act like you're not too good enough, like you're too good to not take money from him. I just kind of had to throw that out there. 1 second. Not gonna lie, kind of forgot where I was. But anyway, Franco and Cam have a talk about, Franco, they're talking with Liz in the room, and, Franco can sense that Cam is not being, honest or whatever, about him being sad or angry or whatever. He's not being his true self. So Franco sends Liz on a BS errand, and when they're alone, Franco's like, listen, man to man, what's going on? Are you okay? He knows that Cam is not going to open up, without something. So Franco's like, what, listen, I'm scared. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do everything in my power to stay alive. And so, they make this little pact about, Franco's going to fight his hardest to sit there and stay around. And in return, Cameron is going to not look at, not let what happened, not have a poor outlook on life. That was pretty much about it. But I only sit there and I also mention this scene because they come a long way, Cam really couldn't stand Franco when they first got together, when they first interacted. Hey, by the way, does anyone remember the really poor substitute of the first Cam that came around? Because I do, and I'm still just like, wow, what an upgrade. He, the first one barely said anything, and I'm still just like, yeah, I remember there was another Cam before him. Um, and that was about it. Really, that was probably the extent of his scenes that I can remember. Now, I think the last scene was with Peter, Maxie, um, Finn, and Anna. And honestly, to tell you the truth, they didn't really talk about much. They talked about Alex, because, like, they were talking about something. I don't remember what it was. And then, 1 second. Out of nowhere, Maxie's like, let's talk about Alex for a minute. Like, what's up with her? So they talk for a little bit, and, Maxie just has questions like, why did she try to kidnap me for? Why did she sit there and say that Peter and Alex are so much alike? They also talk about the wedding, being scaled down, and, it's just a lot of nothing talk. I'm sorry, but it's like, the whole time, here's the thing. Anna is lying to Peter throughout this entire episode. She's going to lie to Peter for most of these episodes because she feels that Peter is not strong enough to handle the truth and that he's going to suddenly crack and go into his bad boy ways or whatever. I feel like she doesn't give Peter enough credit. Like, he's a grown-ass adult. Can you let him act like one? And they also talk about Violet, being proud of Finn, and he's out the hospital and all that good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it really, there was like the least interesting story out of, well, pretty much everything else in this episode. Yeah, it was actually probably the least interesting thing about this episode. Because Anna's like, oh, well, Alex is dead, which isn't true, because you didn't see a body, you can't confirm her death, but you're just going to sit there and assume, and, we're all supposed to sit there and be like, okay, Anna, sure, whatever. And again, she is still consistently lying to Peter because reasons. And I think that's actually about it. I think that's really about it as far as this episode goes. I guess we're going to find out over time about Sam maybe possibly distancing herself from Jason and their life. Which is dumb in so many ways. Well, it's dumb in a couple of ways. I get where she's coming from. I know a lot of people don't like Sam in general, but with this particular story about how Sam may leave Jason, and a lot of people don't like that because, it's Jason and Sam forever and whatever, but, like, let's just try to keep in mind that she is a mother, okay? And no matter how much you love your husband, your wife, whatever, like, they're lying, what I'm saying, like, when it comes towards your kids, that's it. Like, there is no buts. There is no, but they can handle it, or they'll learn how to handle it. Like, Carly, a lot of people sit there and say Carly is a great mom, and, she is in a lot of ways, but, a lot of stuff has happened to her kids because she chose to go out with a man that, surrounds herself with violence. And even after, and let's just sit there and say, okay, cool, you love this guy, and the money, the power and the danger didn't really mean anything. When her kids got kidnapped, she stayed. When Michael got shot, when he was in a coma for a year, yeah, she distanced herself for a while, but she came back. And I'm just like, what the hell? When Michael got in that coma, she should have been like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. Maybe this is a sign. I'm good. But she didn't sit there and take the miracle that she got, and then what wound up happening later on? Morgan. So, at this point, it's like, you know, you can't expect Sam to sit there and be like you just because you want to, no offense, kind of just sacrifice your kids, you know, because of, you know, because you love Sonny so much, doesn't mean that, you know, Sam is exactly built that same way. Now, yeah, Sam knew the danger and she knew the world that she was getting into when she decided to go out with him and marry him and have kids by him. But you know what? People are allowed to change their minds. Okay, just because you didn't for reasons doesn't mean that she can't or that she shouldn't. And I can debate that back and forth, but I think everyone kind of gets my drift. And again, I want to say happy birthday to Damon. I hope you had a great day. I want to thank you again for watching my videos, and you know, I hope the job is going well. And I want to thank everyone for watching my videos too. I know sometimes my videos come out late. I'm going to do my damnness tomorrow to actually watch and do my reviews on time, because I'm actually off of work. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you for watching. Be safe. I will catch everyone in the next review.